It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, has been gone for years. But according to her father, the circumstances surrounding her death still don't add up. Like others who've spoken out, Bobbi has repeatedly suggested that Bobbi Kristina's ex, Nick Gordon, may have played a role not only in her death, but possibly even in Whitney Houston's as well.
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what Bobbi Kristina.
What Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starving.
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
But allegedly, there's far more to the story. Word on the street is that Krissy knew what really happened to her mother, and that the chilling similarities between their deaths may not have been a coincidence. Some even claim it was planned. And honey, I've also heard plenty of talk about how she was present during many of her mom's heated arguments, including confrontations with people like
Grammy time, and her and had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight.
So what exactly did Krissy know about her mother's death? And could it have had anything to do with her own? Let's get straight into it. For some background, Bobbi Kristina Brown grew up in the public eye. She appeared alongside Whitney Houston from a very young age, including during an interview with Barbara Walters when she was just 8 months old. At 1 year old, she was on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards as Whitney accepted an award. Cameras followed her life almost from birth. When Whitney died, Krissy was reportedly one of the people hit the hardest. After her mother's body was found in a Beverly Hills hotel room, Bobbi Kristina suffered what was described as a breakdown and was hospitalized. Despite that, she appeared composed during the funeral and memorial services that followed. Whitney's death also thrust Krissy further into the spotlight. Although her family initially tried to shield her, she made several public appearances in the years that followed. She briefly joined and later exited a Tyler Perry television series, attended the Billboard Music Awards, and even sat down for an interview with Oprah, among other appearances. Tragically, she didn't live long enough to fully carry on her mother's legacy. On January 31st, 2015, Bobbi Kristina was found unresponsive in the Georgia home she shared with Nick Gordon. She was discovered unconscious in a bathtub, an eerie parallel to how her mother died. After months in hospice care, she passed away on July 26, 2015. The Fulton County Medical Examiner ruled her death a combination of drowning and intoxication. Toxicology reports showed marijuana, alcohol, a related substance, sedatives, anti-anxiety medication, and morphine in her system. However, officials could not determine whether her death was accidental or intentional. At the time, the medical examiner stated that immersion associated with intoxication set off the chain of events leading to her death, with pneumonia and brain injury listed as more immediate causes. Naturally, comparisons were immediately drawn to Whitney Houston's death. Whitney was found unresponsive in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel on February 11, 2012, at the age of 48. Her death was officially ruled an accidental drowning. Toxicology reports noted small amounts of along with marijuana, Xanax, and other substances in her system. Initial reports suggested Whitney may have suffered a heart-related episode that caused her to lose consciousness and drown. However, the autopsy did not find clear evidence of a heart attack. The coroner noted only mild heart disease and limited arterial blockage, conditions not uncommon for longtime smokers. The levels of cocaine detected were described as relatively low and not considered fatal on their own. This left one major question unanswered. What caused Whitney to become incapacitated in the bathtub in the first place? Adding to the mystery, some have pointed out that there was reportedly not enough water in her lungs to conclusively prove drowning as the sole cause of death. That raised speculation about whether she may have been placed in the tub after losing consciousness elsewhere. And when people discuss the lingering questions surrounding Whitney Houston's death, two names are often brought up in public conversations and online speculation: Bobbi Kristina's former partner Nick Gordon and singer Ray J.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobbi Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub like.
The thing is, Ray J was the last person to have a public relationship with Whitney, but they were really not steady, and they never admitted that they were an item. Now, on the day Whitney died, Ray J said he was not at the party, but there have been several accounts claiming that he lied about not being around. In fact, one of the accounts from people who were there was that Brandy was asking for her brother at the party. So why would she be asking for him if he was not there in the first place? People also started giving Ray J the side eye when Raffles and Ray J were hurrying out the back with Brandy Burnside that same evening. Yet Raffles clearly never liked Ray. So why was he helping him sort of sneak out of the place? Then, to make matters more interesting, Leola Brown, the sister of Whitney's ex-husband Bobbi Brown, said shortly after Whitney's death that Ray J had been helping Whitney get access to whatever she was using, and he was probably the one who gave her a bad bag.
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. Yes, I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J.
It also doesn't help that before Whitney died, she slipped Ray J's sister Brandy a note when she crashed an E-interview with Brandy, Monica, and Davis. Well, to this day, Brandy still refuses to reveal the contents of the note. In fact, in another E-interview, she said, "I'm gonna just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reasons." However, a lot of people believe that Whitney might have given the note to Brandy in front of the cameras on purpose, like in case something happened to her. Actually, once she passed the note, she kept giving Monica and Clive attention so that Brandy had enough time to read it. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that Whitney Houston interrupted a recorded interview just to say hi while she was wet yet fully clothed to just pass a note to Brandy and kiss her like that at the end. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear her say, "I nearly drowned today." In addition, people also noted that Brandy talks about everything good. When it's bad, she won't. And that can only mean that that note was bad and her face said it all when Whitney gave it to her. Anywho, people have always said that they believe that Kristina found out what really happened to her mom, and there have been reports claiming that she even had receipts. In fact, based on what Jaguar revealed, she was present when Whitney was having her fights with Davis before she died.
Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight.
Now, there have been theories suggesting that may have been involved with Whitney's death, and if Kristina was present during some of the arguments they had, best believe that she must have heard things she was probably not supposed to hear. And Whitney just happened to die at a party? Chill, it doesn't make sense. Well, the circumstances surrounding Krissy's death and the similarities to her mom's death have also never made sense, especially when it comes to what was going on between her and Nick Gordon.
Who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her hair. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face?
Apparently, Krissy was planning on making a trip to LA to celebrate her dad's birthday with their family. It was also set to become a permanent move to be closer to Bobbi and focus on her career. Based on reports, she was excited to continue her mother's legacy, and she was looking forward to moving closer to her father and having a relationship with him. But Nick didn't want her close to anyone because he knew as soon as Krissy left that everything would have been done for him. Reportedly, she was even supposed to meet up with a friend the same day she was found in that tub to let her friend know that Nick wasn't the man she thought he was. Then, according to what people close to her said, the day she wanted to tell Nick about her plans, she was under the influence and upset when Nick returned from being out. Then they argued, and Nick attacked her and then left her alone in the room, and that's why she had bruises on her body, allegedly. Remember, shortly after Kristina was moved to hospice care, her court-appointed conservator also filed a complaint against Nick Gordon to pursue justice on her behalf. In the complaint, he was accused of causing substantial bodily harm and stealing money by pretending to be Bobbi Kristina's husband. In fact, the conservator later filed an amended complaint accusing him of causing Bobbi Kristina's wrongful death. The complaint claimed that the pair had a heated argument, which led Nick Gordon to give Bobbi Kristina a toxic cocktail that left her unconscious before he put her face down in the bathtub. Well, according to Bobbi Brown, Nick Gordon was present during both Whitney's and Krissy's death, and according to what he believes, he may have been involved in both deaths. However, Nick denied the allegations and even said that Krissy's father, Bobbi Brown, was the one to blame for Krissy's death. Unfortunately, Nick also passed on a few years later, so there's really no one who can say for certain what really led to the death of Whitney and Krissy and whether the deaths were related and planned. Honey, I don't know whether Nick was responsible for both deaths or whether somebody more powerful put him up to it, but what I can say is both Whitney's and Krissy's deaths never made sense. I mean, don't you find the similarities a little disturbing? Do you also believe that Nick was involved or that he was put up to it by someone more powerful? Drop those thoughts in the comments section below.